Meanwhile, let's talk more about the sea. Russia is not ready to agree to a mutual cessation of attacks on vessels carrying agricultural products in the Black Sea. According to Volodymyr Zelensky, Moscow wants to link the security of the Ukrainian grain corridor with the cessation of Ukrainian strikes on Russian oil and gas infrastructure. The president emphasized there is no total blockade of the Black Sea corridor. Let's listen.
Today there is no total blockade, but there is an attempt at a total blockade, yet 3 to 4 ships a day are entering and leaving Greater Odesa, despite the fact that they are striking port infrastructure. We are considering several options. I, in principle, have already spoken about this. This topic is being raised. Several countries will be working on this.
And joining us on the line is Dmytro Pletenchuk, spokesperson for the naval forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Mr. Dmytro, glad to welcome you.
Likewise, Konstantin. Greetings to the studio and the viewers.
Well, I can't help but ask about the operational situation.
The situation over this past day was stable. Actually, it was relatively quiet. Perhaps our enemies got a bit exhausted directly the day before. You know that symbolism is of great importance to them. They always try to play with this theme. But nevertheless, the night in the Odessa region was relatively quiet.
Mr. Dmytro, it is reasonable and logical that in recent days, given the visits of various foreign delegations, a lot has been said about the security of the grain corridor and civilian shipping in general. How are things with that? Should we expect perhaps in the near future some news, let me phrase it that way?
Work is ongoing. That is true. We, in principle, have not yet raised the topic regarding the work in the mode that it is currently in. But yes, navigation is taking place. Of course, we will try to somehow increase our capabilities, but one way or another, you see what the Russians are trying to do, a poker face in this game, in quotes, in which they are suffering. If we take it purely nominally, loss is probably much greater than ours by far. But nevertheless, the school of Moscow diplomacy from the Molotov era is still alive. As soon as something is offered to the Russians, they always demand some additional bonuses. We saw all of this after the end of the so-called grain deal, when they demanded the lifting of sanctions on Roselkhozbank, the restarting of the Tolyatti-Odessa ammonia pipeline, and many other things. Well, this is basically typical behavior for them, and in reality, they are just as interested, but they try to pretend that they aren't. At the same time, in Russia itself, the issue is being raised about the state buying up grain that they will no longer be able to physically ship through ports in the Black Sea. And as it turned out, the share of these very ports in grain exports for Russia is the largest.
Mr. Dmytro, we have just a couple of minutes left until the national moment of silence. I will remind you that at exactly 9 o'clock across the entire country, we will remember those who died in the fight against the Russian Federation and its aggression against Ukraine. Mr. Dmytro, very briefly, we currently see that the issue of ensuring the safety of civilian vessels is acute. I would like to ask more about the international exercises that are taking place, especially in the near future. What are the trends? What is usually practiced? And accordingly, a segment like, for example, patrolling. Is this being practiced additionally? We have a minute.
Konstantin, we perform these functions every day. In fact, we can teach others a thing or two here. Our training, as a rule, takes place on the topic of ensuring the safety of civilian shipping, but mostly in the context of demining or conducting amphibious operations, that is, conducting combat operations on land. This is when our Marines are working. So here, regarding patrolling, ensuring the operation of corridors, this is our daily work. So here, in principle, there is probably no special point in learning anything. Here, every country carries out these actions in its own waters 24/7.
But Mr. Dmytro, not everyone is in the same conditions as you. That's exactly why I'm asking. Are they asking to share experience in this sense?
Yes, of course, if we consider it in that context, it is unique. And this applies to many areas, including this one. Activities to ensure the safety of civilian shipping in wartime conditions. Ukraine is also, in this sense, a pioneer in many issues, actually.
Mr. Dimitro, as always, we are very grateful to you for the interpretation and explanation. Dmytro Pletenchuk, spokesperson for the naval forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, was with us.